Peter the Squirrel's Quest for Winter Nuts. Once upon a time, in a cozy little forest, lived Peter the Squirrel. Autumn was setting in, painting the leaves in shades of gold and red. For Peter, autumn was more than just a beautiful spectacle, it was a sign to start collecting nuts for the impending winter. Peter had heard stories from older squirrels about how cruel and unforgiving winter could be, so he wanted to be well prepared. Peter had a best friend named Carmen, a sparrow who loved to sing. Carmen was quite carefree, fluttering from tree to tree and enjoying the sunny days while they lasted. She didn't have to worry much about winter because she would fly south when the days got colder. "Peter, why are you always so busy? Come play with me," Carmen chirped one day. "I wish I could, Carmen. But I must collect enough nuts for the winter." "Winter is not kind to those who are unprepared," Peter replied, twitching his bushy tail. Carmen respected Peter's sense of responsibility but couldn't help but feel sorry for her hard-working friend. "All right, just don't forget to have some fun too." Peter nodded and started his daily venture to find nuts. However, the forest was experiencing a shortage this year. The old oak tree that usually had plenty of acorns was practically empty, and the walnut tree near the stream had been struck by lightning in a summer storm. As Peter was scampering around, searching high and low for nuts, he heard about a mythical nut tree located in the deepest part of the forest. The tree was said to bear the most abundant and delicious nuts. It was a long and perilous journey, but Peter was determined. Armed with courage, Peter set off on his quest. He encountered various obstacles along the way, like crossing a rapid stream by hopping on slippery stones, and avoiding a hungry fox that roamed the deeper parts of the forest. At times, he felt exhausted and questioned his decision, but the thought of facing winter without enough food kept him going. Finally, after days of travel, Peter reached the mythical nut tree. It was taller and more magnificent than any tree he had ever seen. The branches were laden with nuts of all kinds. With his eyes shining bright, Peter quickly climbed the tree and began collecting the nuts, stuffing his cheeks full before depositing them into a small bag he had brought along. But just as he was about to take his last nut, he heard a soft voice. "Why are you taking my children?" Startled, Peter looked around and saw a beautiful tree nymph standing beside the tree. Her skin looked like bark, and her hair was like flowing leaves. She was the guardian of the mythical nut tree. "I'm sorry," stammered Peter. "I need these nuts to survive the winter. I didn't mean to upset you." The nymph looked at Peter and sensed his sincerity. "You may take the nuts, but promise to plant some seeds in the spring to keep the circle of life going." Peter happily agreed to the terms and thanked the nymph. With his bag full of nuts, he began the journey back home, this time with a lighter heart and quicker steps. When Peter returned to his part of the forest, Carmen greeted him with joyful songs. She was amazed by Peter's courage and the delicious nuts he had brought back. Word spread quickly, and soon Peter became a local hero, celebrated for his bravery and wisdom. Winter finally came, and Peter was more than ready. His well-stocked pantry kept him comfortable through the snowy days and freezing nights. Carmen had flown south as she usually did, but she returned in the spring to find a very content Peter. True to his word, Peter planted the seeds he had promised the tree nymph he would, and as the seasons changed, new nut trees began to grow in the forest. Peter had not only secured his winter but also ensured that future generations of squirrels would have plenty of nuts to collect. He taught everyone about the importance of preparation, courage, and giving back to nature, lessons that were passed down for generations to come. From then on, Peter was not just another squirrel in the forest. He was Peter the Wise, a little squirrel with a big heart and an even bigger stash of nuts. And so, every autumn when the leaves began to fall, the forest creatures would remember the tale of Peter's brave quest. And every winter, as the snow blanketed the earth, they knew that somewhere in a cozy tree hole, Peter was enjoying the fruits of his labor, snug and happy, waiting for another spring to arrive. The end.